Hey guys, Omer again with Straight Path Construction. It's that time again, time for another YouTube video. Today the topic is the ideal roofing company. Look, if you're in a roofing market like ours in Calgary, there's a lot of companies to choose from in the US as well, and some other markets in Canada. There's obviously a lot of competition, a lot of companies to choose from. So what we've done here is just quickly thought of some really important things to look out for when hiring the company, because if you're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars or whatever amount of money, maybe your roof is small and it costs less than 10,000, but the point is, if you're going to spend a lot of money, you want to hire the ideal company. You want to hire the best company possible that is going to give you the best bang for your buck. So here's the things that are some things to look out for. The number one thing, the owner has been there and done that. Now what this means is, in the ideal most scenario, a roofing company should have an owner who has done roofing themselves. So the benefit of this is they're not having to rely on others when it comes to the ins and outs of the trade. They can go up and inspect themselves. They can spot out the BS from not the BS themselves. They've been there and done that. They've been physically on roofs. They know what it takes to complete roofs. They know what the day-to-day is like. They know what the mornings are like and what the evenings are like. They know what setting up all the way to cleaning up at the end of the job is like. They know what are some things that can cause damage on a roof. What are windy days like? What are really hot days like? What are really cold days like? So they know all of these factors, as opposed to someone who's never actually done the roofing themselves and they're just a business owner. Sure, they can have a great operation and they can have things dialed down. But if you look at a real world example, let's say you're to go to a hospital and you need a major surgery on something, and you have two hospitals to choose from. One is owned by a businessman who's employed some doctors and they're giving you surgery, and one is owned by a surgeon who's done it for years and years in the field themselves, and now they have some other doctors that are working with them. Which one would you choose? I don't know about you, but I would choose the clinic that has the surgeons already. Now, that's number one. Number two, the people at the top know your name at least. So what this means is, typically you want to look for a company that's right in the middle. They're not, or they're not so big where the owners and the top management have no idea who you are. And to them, you're just another number. And your house is just another house. And if it messes up, or if the crews mess up, it is what it is. You'll never hear from them and you'll never know them. And someone that works for them who's here today and won't be here maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years from now will take care of it. So what you really want is a company that the top level management and the owners, they at least know of you and know who you are. That way, if something goes wrong, it can be a more direct approach with the person who has the highest stake, which is the owner and the top level management, right? So you want them to be directly involved in your roof to some degree, or your siding. Now, they have regular training for their crews. This is also very important, obviously. What typically happens, guys, is roofing company is there, they've got their roofers, and the roofers are doing stuff and they're learning on the job. Sometimes the new people and the old people are just building habits over time, and they're doing things a certain way. And a lot of times they're not getting regular training. So something to ask is, how often are you training your crews, and what does that training look like? Ideally, they should have a shop space set up in their office or somewhere where the crews are coming in and they're getting safety orientations. First of all, what safety standards are, because we all forget, we tend, if we're not reminded, we tend to forget the basic things, and we get away from the fundamentals a lot. So the first thing is safety. Next thing is installation practices, installation standards. So what we want to do, what we don't want to do, flashing details, ice and water details, the actual install details, windy days, hot days, cold days. What are we doing? What are some things to look for? How are we keeping the property safe? How are we, what's our cleanup standards like? So if these things aren't constantly rehearsed and constantly talked about, there tends to be a sort of, people just get used to the way they do things, and the standard or the quality of work tends to diminish. Now, they have real safety standards. So again, this circles or ties into the training part, but the company, you should always ask, what are your safety standards? Have you had any work stop notices? Have you had any major accidents? Of course, they'll say no. But to be honest with you, if they're just saying, oh, no, we've never had that, this is a load of BS. If it's a real company that does real work and they do real numbers and people really trust them, they're bound to have some accidents at some point. Either things falling off a roof, homeowner's property getting damaged, or even, God forbid, someone falling off a roof. I mean, this happens all the time in our industry. So if they're saying, oh, no, we don't ever have any accidents or anything like that, if it's a real company, that's a load of BS. Everybody has accidents, so you should ask, what's your procedure like? When accidents happen? What's your WCB coverage? Give me an example of the last time it happened. What did you guys do? So on and so forth. Now, they're priced at least in the middle. This is very important, guys. Priced in the middle at least. Look, when people are looking for roofs, a lot of times we hear, I just want the cheapest price. If you go to a store and you buy the cheapest thing, usually it's not going to be the best thing available in that store. Now, your roof is protecting your house, and it's the first layer of defense against weather, against bad weather. So to put the cheapest possible thing on, or the cheapest possible price, if companies are coming around and giving you the cheapest possible price, they're not the best companies around. And what they're doing is they're cutting corners on labor, and they're cutting corners on material, and they're not doing things the way that they're supposed to be done. So you never want to look for this is the worst thing that you can do for your house, is put a cheap roof on your house and have to deal with problems 5, 7, 3, 2, 10, whatever amount of years later. What you want to look for is a company who's priced at least in the middle, or they're higher tier pricing wise. Now, in a perfect world, the higher their price, the better they should be. And the more value they should be able to give you. So if a company comes and they're saying your roof's going to be $13,000, and another company comes and they're saying your roof's going to be $11,000, the $13,000 company should be able to offer $2,000 extra of value to you, and you should be able to clearly see that. If you are not able to see that and they're not able to convey it, that just means they're pricing higher for no reason, right? So if it's high, the value needs to be there and it needs to be understood as to why I'm paying more. And the more you pay and the more valuable your roof becomes, the longer it's going to last and the less of a headache it's going to be. Now, manufacturer-backed warranty. So this ties into the value thing. You want to have companies that can give you manufacturer-backed labor warranties. This is very important. We stress this a lot. We obviously are able to offer this. Some other good companies are able to offer this as well. This just means that companies have reached a certain level of work, certain level of certification from manufacturers, that they're able to now offer labor warranties from the manufacturer on their work. So this is obviously top tier warranty in this industry. Yesterday I was speaking to someone, and it was for this property manager, another company that we work with sometimes, and they said, what type of warranty are you guys giving? I said 15 years, and that company is a renovation company, and they give 3-4 year warranties. So he laughed. He said, wow, that's a crazy warranty. I said, we give manufacturer warranties, and our labor warranty is 15 years, and the reason that is because it's just a super competitive market. So if a company comes to you and they're not able to offer manufacturer-backed labor warranties, that just means they're below curve and they're not top tier. So if a company comes to you and they're not able to offer manufacturer-backed labor warranties, that just means that they're below tier, or maybe they're just subpar and they just haven't reached high levels of certification with manufacturers yet, either because they're new or they're just not any good. And then number 7, what you want is a great low risk offer. I personally love this. I love going to a homeowner and giving them an offer where they feel like all of the risk is removed from their buying decision. This is when you know that whatever purchasing decision you're about to make is the right one, because the company is willing to assume all of the risk. So great low risk offer with bonuses, with lots of value added, and it's just got to make sense. If you're paying an X amount, it's got to make sense why you're paying. And ideally what you should be thinking is, wow, I am getting all of this stuff for just this much money. This is, if you feel like this, when someone comes to your house, you should buy that roof straight up, because not many companies can make you feel like that, and not many companies can offer such great value. So all of this combined equals a satisfied homeowner, which is you. If you're in the Calgary and surrounding areas and you want to hire the ideal roofing company, we would like to think we are an ideal roofing company. Give us a shout, Straight Path Construction. Our phone number is 825-558-1829, or you can reach us on the website, straightpathconstruction.ca. Take care. See you next time.